Broke men don't deserve submission. They don't. And any woman watching this video, if you're submitting to a broke man, you're a goddamn fool. Why would you be submitting to a man that can't lead himself? Why would you submit to a man that can barely provide for himself? Why would you submit to a man that can't take care of himself? What are you submitting for? What are you submitting to? I often see a lot of these men, right? You know what they'll say? They'll say these women have no problem submitting to the white man or submitting to their boss. Their boss is providing. He's providing a paycheck. He's providing a form of security and stability because she knows if she works, right? If she shuts up, if she completes the task at hand, he's going to provide a payday for her. He's going to provide a payday for her. That job also provides medical benefits and so forth and so forth. You would be a fool to submit to a man that can't do anything for you or your circumstances. And that's just real as it get. Click the link in the bio.
You have to be a very weak man to be scared of a woman who says she wants a provider. Without this woman, you would still be paying everything that's in your household. To be a provider is to provide for yourself, essentially. So ladies, if it's a man that's scared of you saying that you want a provider, 9 times out of 10, he can't provide for himself. He needs you to go 50-50 because he literally cannot survive by himself. And if a man can't afford the cost of his own independence alone, he's not a man. Now, I do believe it's the woman's job to keep herself up. Like, it's not a man's job to pay for your hair, nails, lashes. All of that is going above and beyond. But the bare minimum is for him to be taking care of that household.
If you go to work, you get money. You're not sacrificing. You go to work, you negotiated your rate or your salary, right? They told you when you started the job, if you show up and you work 1 hour, for 1 hour of labor, you're going to get $30. And you go, okay, cool. And you work 8 hours. So you get $240 a day. Every single time you go to work, you get $240 a day, right? You're not sacrificing shit. That's called work. You're not sacrificing your time. That is called work, right? Now, if you find yourself working extra hours or more hours than you normally would,
please be sure to like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel.
So today's topic will be on men being providers. Typically means a man that makes sure his wife and kids, if they have any, core needs are being covered. The ideal is sometimes broader than just earning money. Different cultures define being a provider man differently. Some families expect the man to be the sole breadwinner, while some say both partners should provide equally. I believe it all starts with the mindset of a man. This is something that should be talked about before moving a relationship further. That way everyone knows what's expected of them from the start. Let's hear what some of these men and women have to say.
Because these are things that your family either needs or wants, right? So when you get them, you give them to your wife and you give them to your child. First and foremost, you should do everything you need to do everything you can do for your child, first and foremost. And you should do that for your wife. But my last question to you would be this. If you think that is a sacrifice, what I want to know is, after you get done working all those extra hours and after your wife gets her car or after your wife gets her purse or whatever you did work those extra hours for, get that house or whatever, does your wife not pour back into you? That's all I want to know. Does your wife not pour back into you? If your wife does not pour back into you, you should probably leave her. Because I would say the same thing about a woman. If you are in a relationship where you are giving and the other person is taking and they aren't giving back, then you probably shouldn't be with them, right? But that is what it would take for you to sacrifice in a relationship. Just FYI. If you are giving and you aren't receiving, if you are giving and you aren't receiving, that is a sacrifice. Absolutely, that is a sacrifice. So I want to know, is that happening to you, men? Because men were in the comments saying they disagree. Is that happening to you? Are you giving and not getting anything in return or not getting what you want in return? I'm very curious to know.
My husband has been a provider for our family for over 25 years. And he says, I could not do it without her. Because he knows what it takes to do what I do. And right now, our children are leaving. But he doesn't care because he knows what I did. He knows I busted my ass for this family. And that's time I cannot get back. I don't want it back. But I don't sit here and say, oh my gosh, I'm sacrificing for my child. No, I did this because it was my job. But I was paid and compensated very well for what I did and what I do. You don't know providers. You've never seen a provider. If you are still sitting here talking about how, oh, that's a sacrifice. No, you get a fucking check. A sacrifice is when you are giving your all for somebody else, whether or not they acknowledge it or not. And a lot of you don't acknowledge it. So women have opted out. I don't want a provider. I don't even want a husband. Because you get a check, but that's not enough. When you come home, you want her to sacrifice her body, but you don't see it as sacrifice because you think you're doing something, but you ain't even asked if you're doing anything. You just feel that she owes you because you brought home a check. You already got paid for it. You want her to pay her for that trash dick too? You guys don't know what you're talking about. You just want to be providers or have a reason not to be one.
First of all, to take up for the women, I don't think a man should be calling a female his woman or his girl if he's not paying majority of both of her bills. That's not your girl. Yeah. That's not your girl. Because you need her to always remember that you're her man when she go to work. Because you know y'all got a work boyfriend and a work husband. So when you get around your work husband, you have to remember my home husband is there where I live at and he's paying my bills. So we don't keep it right here at work. We're not going to leave off the work premises and try to hook up nowhere because then I'm going to lose.
Whenever I see a man struggling financially and that man is married and he's struggling a lot with finances and he's done everything in his power, he's working hard, I ask him, where is your wife? I think what we have missed is the centrality of women around money. Not to control money, but spiritually speaking, women are gatekeepers of wealth. Men are gatekeepers of power. What happens when a man in a house shuts down the voice of a woman? The man will struggle. When you think that the man who has higher title is the only one who is right, unfortunately, there will be destruction. And I think that happens in the home as well. When it's only the man who has a voice, you have trouble. You have a lot of problem. You notice that men don't live long after their wife dies. If a woman lives with a man and dies, most men don't last 5 years. But if a man dies, a woman can go for 20 years. Why? Her children. A woman has built deep relationship with the children, with everybody around her. But the man, because he's the big boss up there, nobody speaks around him. So once the man, in some cases, when the children grow up and go abroad, they bring their mother. The man stay alone suffering. To be honest with you, and my experience is that people who do that, they suffer financially. They really suffer. It's not like your wife has to give you money, but they are spiritually, they are gatekeepers of wealth. The only thing they have to do for you is be happy with you. Their heart is pleased with you. A lot of good things happen. A lot of times they just pray for you.
These are the signs that he will never be a provider, sweetheart. The first red flag. He always in between jobs, quote unquote. He constantly got an excuse on why he ain't working or only take jobs with no stability or future. He do all that big talk but never follow through with it. The second red flag. He comfortable with living off women. Whether it's his mama, his ex, or you, he relies on others to survive, especially women. He expects you to cover bills, food, gas, his habits, and even loans that he'll never repay. In other words, he bring the provider out of you. And then be wondering why you being masculine and not feminine with him. Third red flag. No ambition and no vision. This dude lack goals, long-term plans, and even basic motivation. He okay with doing the bare minimum and resent anybody that expects more of him. The fourth red flag. He's emotionally unavailable. He don't offer emotional support or safety. He's dismissive, inconsistent, and only shows up when it benefits him. The 5th red flag, he avoids responsibility. He blames others for his problems and never take ownership. If he mess up, it's always a story and never a solution. The 6th red flag, he don't invest in you. Not just financially, he don't invest time, effort, energy, or thought into your growth, goals, or well-being. And when you came home from work, he was just sitting on the couch on the game eating all your kids' snacks. 7th red flag, he only takes and never gives. Y'all relationship feel one-sided. While you over there giving, he over there receiving. Only time he trying to give something is when y'all in the bedroom. And he barely can even give that. He entitled and expect your support without reciprocation. I mean, at first I said reciprocation, participation, precipitation. Anyways, he ain't participation either. I mean participating. The 8th red flag, he talking about he want to be taken care of. He openly says he want a woman to take care of him like he want to be pampered, like he want his nails did, like he want to go get a pedicure and a mani. It's given he want to be you. If that's the case, you wear the drawers and he wear the panties since he want the petty and the mani. The 9th red flag, his lifestyle don't match his words. He always talking about getting money, being a boss, and all these big dreams, but he never has nothing to show for it. He can't even provide results. His biggest accomplishments is his ideas and hearing him saying it. In a 10th red flag, you feel drained and not uplifted. A real provider brings peace and progress, and all he bringing is meat and problems. Barely even meat. Barely. It feel like you taking care of an extra kid. Now that you see all these signs, get that man off your son's twin bed. Get him off your couch. You don't struggle for too long. This is your sign. This is your time. This is your winning season. You got to leave people behind.
We really have a whole era of men that don't want to protect and provide. These men want women to go to work, come home, cook, clean up, tend to the kids, and pay half the bills while they just go to work and come home. As a man, you should be pouring into your woman, but instead you got her running on empty. A woman was never built to handle all those responsibilities, and a real man would never put her in a position to do so. He would take a lot of that weight off her shoulders, especially financially. He wants to protect you in all aspects of your life because he knows how powerful a woman is when she's not forced to be in her masculine energy. A real man makes a woman's life easier so that she can flourish and be that loving, caring, nurturing queen that she is.
Woman who knows that I give relationship advice, she asked me, if my man lost his job, and he is still without work, for 6+ months or whatever, would I leave him? I said yes. I said, because one thing I know is McDonald's is always hiring. She said, well, no, if he's, searching for another job in his, searching for another job in his career field, it's just taking a little bit long, or his career field isn't hiring right now, but he is actively searching. Would you leave him?
I think a lot of men don't understand when you talk about being a provider, getting up, going to work is the bare minimum you can do for your family as far as providing. And not saying that that's not any kind of sacrifice when you're working harder and paying more bills within the house, but understand going to work and being a go-getter was what I was going to do whether my wife existed or not. But what I would not count on doing is being a stay-at-home father, giving up potential future goals and dreams in order to support my spouses. What I wouldn't be doing is working a full-time job and then coming home and have to do all the cooking or all the cleaning or even carry the emotional burden of the children, while my spouse, who works as much as me, probably just sitting there looking at me. What I wouldn't be expecting is to be doing all of these things and be dead tired at the end of the day and then expecting sexual activity to then occur. Now, you see men talking about building decks and mowing the lawns and changing the oil in the car and all these things. Most of you motherfuckers ain't doing that. This is coming from somebody who is literally building a deck right now. This is coming from somebody who changed brakes on the car and mows the lawn, who just mowed the lawn, who knows how to mount TVs and put things together and actually fix some shit around here. You don't have to do that every day. But most of y'all ain't doing that, and your women is providing the financial stability as well in the house. When you're really together, there's no point to keep a scoreboard, but understand that woman is probably giving just as much, if not more, within a relationship. So never downplay her experience just because there's not a dollar amount connected to it.
That's not a relationship you build. That's one that you get slowly drained in. Because now everything becomes, that's the bare minimum. You're supposed to do that. That doesn't deserve appreciation. So no matter how much you give, it keeps getting reframed as nothing. And most men, they don't realize this early. They think, I just need to do more.
And I'm going to say this for all the fellas that's out there moving reckless, man. Yeah, you got a good woman in your life, and you out here moving reckless and taking that woman for granted and misusing her and not valuing her work. You better be careful who you push away, boy. Because once they reach that point where she's had enough, the real ones don't come back. For sure, for sure. Free game.
We live in a generation where women have to become That's the real tragedy of this generation.
Who is not stable, that is delusion. Okay? You guys are delusional.
Here's one thing women should learn from men. It's how to be selfish. As a divorce lawyer, I've learned that male selfishness is not a flaw, it's a strategy. Men are not ashamed to prioritize themselves. They do not apologize for choosing what benefits them. They do not agonize over whether protecting their own interests makes them a bad person. They move accordingly and they sleep just fine afterwards. Women, on the other hand, are trained to overextend, to sacrifice, to accommodate, to put everyone else first, and then feel guilty when they are depleted. We are praised for selflessness even when it costs us everything. Watch how men operate. They choose convenience. They choose advantage. They choose outcomes that makes their lives easier. And no one calls them heartless for it. They call them smart, strategic, practical. I see this every day in divorce. Men protect their money. Men protect their time. Men protect their energy. Men protect their futures. Meanwhile, women walk in worried about being fair, being kind, being reasonable, even when fairness has never been extended to them. Selfishness has dividends. When you choose yourself consistently, you get stability, you get options, you get leverage, you get peace. Men understand this instinctively. Women are taught to ignore it. Men will leave relationships that no longer serve them without writing an essay about it. Men will say no without explanation. Men will protect their resources like their life depends on it because they understand that in many ways, it does. Women stay too long, give too much, carry emotional and financial burdens that were never meant to be theirs, and then they are shocked when they are burned out, resentful, and empty. This is not a call to become cruel. It is a call to become intentional, to stop confusing self-abandonment with love. Healthy selfishness is not selfish at all. It is understanding that your life should pay you back and not drain you.
Not only are men not providers, they typically withhold things. They're withholders. They always want to be known as the opposite of whatever they are because it comes from a deep place of insecurity and projection. But when you objectively look at their actions and you look at what they're actually quote unquote bringing to the table, aka providing, at best, it is usually a mediocre salary. As a woman, typically when you get married, you get nothing more other than that because the man will withhold it from you for the rest of your life. At best, it will be used as bait on a string to keep you moving in whatever direction he wants to keep you moving. But most men withhold so many things from women, including expression of love. How many women do you know where it's like a big deal? A huge deal whenever their husband says, I love you, or tells them you look pretty or something like that. That's withholding, by the way. A lot of men withhold emotional intelligence, right? They pretend like they don't know or that they can't learn how to be an emotionally intelligent person, how to conduct yourself in an argument without shutting down, stonewalling, all of these things. They just would rather not do it, so they withhold that from you. They withhold emotional labor from you and from your family. A lot of times when dads are dealing with kids, they go straight to physical corporal punishment or like yelling. Others get upset with that because they are trying to actually build relationships with their children, and that takes emotional intelligence. And so most men are literally withholding that from their entire family. And they know that there are tools out there like therapy, even just like journaling and shadow work. They know that those tools are out there. They just will not use them because they are withholding that from you because it doesn't win them any patriarchy points. Not to mention the physical labor that they withhold, which you would think would be one of the very few things that they bring into relationships, but it turns out men withhold physical labor as well. So not only are the chores that men claim to provide to women less frequent and frankly less demanding, women oftentimes also have to nag their husbands into doing those chores like mowing the lawn or like fixing something, changing the oil in somebody's car. They say that they do these things and they love to threaten women with, who's going to change your car oil? Well, who's going to do this? It's like, not you. Especially, a couple years into marriage, like they just let their foot off the gas. They're withholding that physical labor from you. Why? Because they can. And when they're not withholding something from you, they're weaponizing it, right? We've heard all of these terms: weaponize incompetence, weaponize emotional intelligence, weaponize therapy speak. When they're not withholding something from you, they will find a way to weaponize it against you and make your life worse in a way that you can't quite complain about. Women have had to coin terms like weaponized blank to explain the type of gaslighting, shitty behavior that men will do instead of just contributing to your life, instead of just doing it right, instead of just taking the time to learn to do something. They will take the time to do it in a shitty way so that you don't ask them to do it again. Provider where? What are you providing? And so in reality, what most men end up providing to women is single motherhood, loneliness, autoimmune diseases, psychological effects, CPTSD, and they provide children that they don't take care of. They provide a mediocre salary where you still have to clip coupons before you go grocery shopping, where you can't afford things for your kids, and he doesn't help at home either. They will provide you a house that's falling apart. They'll get mad when you call somebody else to fix it or to do the work that he's not willing to do, because it was never about that. He could always do the work. He just wanted you to be miserable. He wanted to withhold something from you because that's how men exercise control. And that's why for me, the patriarchy always goes back to hoarding resources. Men had to figure out a way to withhold something big enough from women to force women into relationships where they could further withhold from them and just take advantage of them and just extract from them. So many times women will be like, oh, I broke up with my boyfriend or I divorced my husband, and next thing you know, he's out here on Instagram posting his new girl, doing all of these things for her that he never did for me.
A visual representation of men not taking accountability. Hey, remember how you stepped on my snail? I do remember vividly. Well, my snail died and it really hurt me, so I would really appreciate if you gave me some sort of apology so I can move on with my life. Wow. Well, it hurts me to know that you would think that I would do anything with the intention of hurting you. That's something that I would never do, and I can't imagine why you would think of me in that sort of way. There were a lot of words said there that didn't include "I'm sorry." Well, I'm sorry that you would think that I would do anything with the intention of hurting you. Right, why do I still feel like I'm being blamed when you killed my snail? Well, I guess you just think that I'm the worst person to ever exist, huh? A person that's always destined to kill snails over and over again. Maybe we can just start with this one apology for this one particular thing. I think I'm gonna go keep killing snails since that's all you'll ever think of me as. Please don't. No one is asking you to do that. Too late, you broke me. Enjoy your snail genocide.
Too many grown men out here with boyish habits, emotionally immature, undisciplined, reactive, and selfish, but demanding respect like they're kings. Sorry to tell you, it don't work like that. Manhood ain't about age, it's about behavior. A boy runs from accountability. A man owns his mistakes and corrects them. A boy needs validation. A man moves in purpose, whether he's clapped for or not. A boy plays the victim. A man takes control of his narrative. You want to be the man? Then start moving like one. Start leading with integrity. Start showing up when it's inconvenient. Start protecting your peace, your family, your future. That means no more making decisions based on ego, lust, or impulse. Because here's the hard truth. You can't build an empire with boyish tendencies. You'll sabotage the very thing you're praying for. And let me say this to the men raising sons. If you don't evolve, your son will inherit your excuses. Lead him by being a man he can respect, not a boy he'll outgrow. So tighten up, be intentional, because the world don't need more grown boys. It needs more men who move like men.
I don't think a woman should ever marry a man that does not have a mind to 100% provide for her. If you sit down and you have a conversation with a man as a woman and he's sitting there, he's bringing up 50-50, I want you to come up with 50, I'm gonna come up with, he's not a masculine man in my opinion. If I were a woman, I would dismiss any man that came up with a conversation about 50-50. Because he's lacking somewhere in terms of his masculinity.
I'll tell you, I want to get beyond having babies and all of that stuff. I want to move past that, right? Because that's too easy. We know that that's also a sacrifice that women make. I'm going to go beyond how women sacrifice their careers, how women sacrifice their health. I'm going to move beyond all of that. I'm going to tell you the real way that women sacrifice in a relationship, the way that most people, but men specifically, don't acknowledge. The way that women sacrifice in a relationship, overwhelmingly, the vast majority of the time, is she picks up the slack when the men don't want to do the job. So if things are supposed to be split equally, right, 50-50 in a relationship, where she does have to labor in the relationship, he does have to labor in the relationship, that way you have an equitable relationship. That almost never plays out that way in a relationship, right? So women end up doing 80, 90, 70% of the labor in the home, in the relationship. And here's why that is a sacrifice. She never gets a return on her investment. She gives all of this time, she gives all of this energy, and she gets nothing in return. It's not like the man fills up her cup. What ends up happening is the man continuously just drains her and drains her and drains her. That is why that is a fucking sacrifice. Because by definition, that's what a sacrifice is. And why does she do it? That would be the question. She does it for the greater good. She does it for the greater good. Women actually are very altruistic. They are socialized to be that way, and I think that humans kind of naturally are that way, right? Socially. Men are taught to take advantage of that. Men are also taught that that is a woman's duty. A woman's duty is to sacrifice her life for you. So men don't think anything about it when a woman is giving, and he's taking. He doesn't think twice about that. He thinks, oh, this is the natural order of the world. So when people bring up the whole like, oh, nobody's pouring into me thing, that is what is going on. Nobody is pouring back into the woman, and she's just getting all of her life force drained out of her.
So if a man ain't provided for you, if a man ain't sacrificed for you, if a man ain't actually went and worked hard and dropped some sweat to make sure that you was taken care of, that's not love. And the crazy thing about a woman is a woman really don't love a man. A woman respects a man. That's how we look at it. So in order for you to love me, I'm not looking whether you a freak in the bed. I'm not looking whether you can suck me right. I'm not looking whether you can be, be quiet and listen and not say nothing. In order for you to show me that you love me, you respect me as the man I am. But the only thing about women is women naturally respect a man on what they give. So if you're not giving, and you're not providing, and you're not paying the bills, and you're not laying down law, and you're not teaching, you're not worried about her emotions, then she gonna talk to you crazy any type of way. So what I noticed was I don't have them problems in my household, but I used to have those problems in my household. When I look back and see why I wasn't getting respected in my household is because I wasn't being the God who I said I was. But once I started operating and being who I said I was, I don't see that at all. I don't have no arguments, no problems, no nothing in my household.
You know what I love about men? Staying from my daughter, I love that they don't compromise. I want you to learn that from them. I want you to peep that. I want you to really get into it. I love that men don't compromise. You know why? Because you need to learn it. Men don't compromise on their happiness. And we go around as women, oh my God, he doesn't prioritize me. He doesn't put me first. He went to the gym, but I didn't get to go to the gym. He did this, but I didn't get to do that. He always does that, but I don't get to do this. Men just don't compromise their happiness. And they will be with the woman that they see as the best for them at that point. Women compromise their happiness for men because they almost feel like they've got some kind of duty to the guy. They've got a duty to the guy, don't they? Because they've been with him for a long time. You see men at a certain status be with a woman and then drop her like a hot potato, the moment that they make more money or their status goes up. Because the woman that they're with, if he's with you, that means you're the best he can do. What you can do is be like a man, always level up, always do better, and stop feeling bad. Stop feeling bad for being selfish. Stop feeling bad all the time. He is not your son. He is not your son. The problem with mothering him is that you love him like you would a son, which is unconditional, which is not how they love us. I told you that time and time again. So I love that about them. They don't compromise their happiness. We constantly complain that we don't do things for ourselves and we're not happy, or he left you because then he found her and he did better because you compromise so much. Nobody asked you to though. Nobody asked you to though. So why don't you look after your happiness the way he does? Because he's looking after his happiness, you look after yours. A happier woman is much more interesting to be around anyway.
They're not coming. They're not coming. The gentleman that said that they would protect women and children, that we need them because they protect women and children, they read the emails and they're not coming. There's more emails, there's more testimonials, and they are not coming. They have not arranged a meeting. They have not sent out an email. They're not coming.
Be providers. They don't really want to take care of their wives and their children. It will, it's their obligation, it's their responsibility, but it's not something they really desire to do. I was married for 18 years and I was a stay-at-home mom for 13 of those years. And I was very shocked to find out near the end of my marriage, when things were really disintegrating, how my now ex-husband really felt about me staying at home all of those years. While he acknowledged the work that I did, as I said, I was a stay-at-home mom to 2 kids who were disabled. I did the majority of the chores in the home, the mental emotional labor. I did a majority of the hands-on parenting for our 2 kids. While he appreciated and respected what I did to a certain degree, in his mind, it was nowhere near the contribution that he was making to the marriage and the family. Like if there's like a marriage pie, in his mind, he was contributing 75% of the pie, and I was only doing, like 25. He felt a lot of anger and resentment that he had to go out and work and I got to stay home. He looked at it like he was doing me a favor. It's like, that's what you wanted. You wanted to stay home with the kids, and I gave that to you. And the feeling was he wasn't getting near what he should have been receiving from me for giving me this huge gift of being able to stay at home. Now, I was under the impression that we made this decision together. My ex-husband was in the military. We moved. Like I said, our 2 kids were disabled. There were lots of reasons why it made sense for me to stay home and take care of the kids. And I know that I worked very hard in our home. Our home was clean. Everything was taken care of. So I didn't really understand where the resentment came from until he said something during an argument we had that was kind of a tell. He said, if it wasn't for you and the kids, I could be doing what I really wanted to do in my life. And I was really shocked because in my mind, I was thinking, isn't being married to me and being in this family what you really wanted out of your life? And this is why every time I see a woman who says, I want a provider, I want a man to take care of me, just understand what you're getting for that is a man who's going to resent you and eventually hate you for it. Because to be honest, he really doesn't want to do it.